A fresh face, but the same old words, it seems. America's new Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, has kicked off his new role with a speech at the NATO headquarters in Brussels, saying the alliance will continue countering Russian aggression.
In the day's other news, President Trump leveled a new warning at Iran. It came as he weighs whether to withdraw from the multi-nation nuclear agreement with Iran next month. Mr. Trump discussed the issue with the visiting German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Afterward, he was asked if he would ever order a military strike on Iran to destroy a nuclear weapons program.
I don't talk about whether or not I'd use military force. It's not appropriate to be talking about, but I can tell you this. They will not be doing nuclear weapons, that I can tell you. Okay? They're not going to be doing nuclear weapons. You can bank on it.
Iran has said its program is for peaceful purposes only and has warned the U.S. not to try to change the nuclear deal.
It just seems that no matter where you go, especially in the Middle East, Iran is behind it. Wherever there's trouble, Yemen, Syria, no matter where you have it, Iran is behind it, and now, unfortunately, Russia is getting more and more involved. But Iran seems to be behind everything where there's a problem. And you just have to take a look. You look at what's happening, you look at the fighters. Iran is always there, and we're not going to allow certain things to happen that are happening. And the Iran deal is a disaster. They're testing missiles, and what is that all about? You look at the ballistic missiles that they're going and testing. What kind of a deal is it where you're allowed to test missiles all over the place? It won't be so easy for them to restart. They're not going to be restarting anything. They restart it, they're going to have big problems, bigger than they've ever had before. And you can mark it down. They restart their nuclear program, they will have bigger problems than they have ever had before. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Right now in Syria, we're in the most aggressive EW environment on the planet from our adversaries. They're testing us every day, knocking our communications down, disabling our AC-130s, etc.
Unbelievable. That is alarming. And that came from the head of U.S. Special Operations, saying EW, as you heard him say there, electronic warfare, is now one of the military's biggest problems in Syria. Our enemies are able to disable American planes that are providing air support to U.S. commandos on the ground. That is not a good situation. The generals go to Russian forces jamming the U.S. drones in the region. Joining me now, Rebecca Grant, a national security and military analyst and former director of the General Mitchell Institute for Air Power. Rebecca, welcome back to the story. Good to have you with us tonight. That's disturbing. Let's put up the picture again of the AC-130. So they are able to jam the AC-130's ability to communicate with people on the ground. What are these AC-130s doing? What are they providing for us there?
The AC-130 is a highly capable gunship, and it provides direct fire and also some ISR. So the Russians are trying to interfere with the HF and UHF radio frequencies. I don't think they're being as effective as they'd like to be, but this is all Putin. Russia developed new electronic warfare capabilities in Ukraine, and now they have brought all of that to Syria to test out on the U.S.-led coalition and our partners.
Saudi Arabia has threatened the Qatari government with a coup if the nation does not help to fund the United States military in Syria. Saudi foreign minister has issued a statement saying that the Qatari troops should replace U.S. troops in Syria, or Washington will withdraw support for the country's government. The threat is the latest in a series of disagreements between Saudi Arabia and Qatar going back to June of 2017, when the Saudis blockaded that Qatar port. Qatar is home to one of the largest U.S. air bases in the world. For more on this, we go to our panel tonight. John Sitilides, geopolitical strategist at Trilogy Advisors, is with us, and Daniel Lazar, journalist and author. Gentlemen, good to have you with us tonight. This is, on the surface, John Sitilides, a big issue for the Trump administration. This is going to be a defining moment on just how involved they're going to be in the Middle East. How do you see this unfolding?
First of all, on the comment from the Saudi foreign minister regarding Qatar's position, it's a rather unusual and somewhat groundless speculative statement to make on behalf of the White House that would ultimately decide whether or not there's going to be a major U.S. airbase in Qatar. It's not up to the Saudi government. So rather unusual in that regard, and really something caught up more in the historic enmity between the Saudi ruling family, the Al Sauds and the Al Thanis of Qatar, that dates back to the 19th century and is caught up now in modern times to the support that has been alleged about Qatar and its ties to Iran, and also its support for Muslim Brotherhood. And I think, frankly, because the Qatari government has been the financial supporter for the Al Jazeera news network that has put out many reports that have been very problematic for Saudi and other Sunni Arab governments in the region.
Daniel, is this what happens when you buy a bunch of arms from the United States? You get to throw your weight around because you know the United States is going to be there for you. You're a good customer to them, and I'm talking about the Saudis. This is quite a threat to Qatar. How do you see it?
Well, I think it's just more craziness out of the Saudis. The Saudis are at war with virtually every country around them: Syria, Qatar, the UAE. They've had friction with Yemen. They're destroying. This country is on the perennial war path and can't stop making trouble. The idea, Trump's idea of inserting Gulf state troops into eastern Syria is crazy, but this latest threat just makes it even crazier.
America says it wants out of Syria, but not before its goals are accomplished, which could take a while and get real dirty. What do? Well, that's what friends are for.
We have asked our partners to take greater responsibility for securing their home region.
Saudi Arabia, it seems, has volunteered for the difficult task of sending troops to sit on oil fields in eastern Syria. Apparently, Saudi Arabia has been volunteering pretty hard and pretty long.
We are in discussions with the US and have been since the beginning of the Syrian crisis about sending forces into Syria.